What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my Forma building guide for this month's All of Forms featuring Binding Blade units. We're going to be having skills up to the Heimdall banner, so stuff like Assault Impetus, Attack Speed Bellow is going to be useful for these units, and Comet as a special is certainly going to be useful in the future. So the star of this batch is going to be Elimine, being an Astro Mythic unit. So if you have her in your core, then this is going to be another merge for you, and if you already have her at Plus and Merge, then you can update her with some of the premium skills. She did get a decent refine and remix, and because we have got other anime mythics like Hother, Heimdall, Freyr is not going to be there all the time. So whenever he's not present on a team, she can be there with her false start and help your team. So as a core mythic, she's not the best, but still far from useless, and she does have a lot of the premium skills that she can now use to provide additional support or just as an alternative tech option. So with this refine, she does get Canto 1, and at start of turn, she can give herself and the allies in 2 spaces the +6 defense and resistance buff and the bonus doubler status, which can help sometimes, but there is a lot of the Dalol effect, and she does have the resistance check so that she can debuff the Cardinal foes with -7 attack and resistance, and also the false start status. And false start is going to be just stopping any kind of at sort of turn skills, but nowadays we have a lot of skills that can go off both at the start of player phase and at start of the enemy phase, so those kinds of skills are going to be annoying for her to stop. And of course there's obviously going to be Freyr, who has the overtuned cleansing. For herself, she does get something for the combat, as she has got the null follow-up, Omni +16, and also a bit of true damage based on 15% of foes attack. She also has null penalties and cooldown +1 per attack, but most of the time she is going to be there for the support, and occasionally she's going to be just attacking the enemies for just cleaning up. For her remix skill, she does have Holy Ground Plus, which can give you the regular damage reduction and also 7 flat damage reduction from foes first attack to herself and the allies in 3 spaces. So the 3 space joint drive effect is good for any kind of tanking ally. She also provides the preempt pulse support, which is always helpful for triggering the high cooldown specials like Comet, Logic, Arc Rival, and stuff like that. This also has Wrathful Staff built in it, but if you're going to be replacing this skill, then it's not really all that hard to get from the other skills, or even with the Wrathful Staff Sacred Seal. It does give +5 defense and resistance to the allies in 3 spaces, so a bit of stats and some flat damage reduction is good for the support, but now we do have some other options that you can run. So when you're going to be getting her in the Hall of Forms, Bouquet Baton Plus is something that you can pick up because it does have the null debuffs Crux support. So if you're going to be facing any kind of Freyr team, and if you're not able to make use of the false start, then this could be an option that you can use. But if you do not have her weapon refined, then you can certainly get the preferred weapon and save some divine to use, but I would argue that a lot of the avid Elimine users are probably already have refined their weapon. So in the fold, our Bouquet Baton Plus is a good alternative weapon. Ice Lock Plus is the assist skill that you should be picking up, but unfortunately she cannot have access to the favor skills, so that's a bit of a bummer, but still she can make use of Call to Serve with the Ice Lock, and the extra action that she gets and the fact that you're able to set up the ice tiles is really good for the support. Glitter of Light can be the special because it can give you the flash status, but you can also pick up Holy Pressure if you prioritize the gravity status, but overall I like Glitter of Light a bit better. For the slot A, Crystalline Water does help her with the resistance check in her preferred weapon, but again, if you're an avid Elimine user, then you already have this on her, so you can pick up Attack Speed Aria or Sway Attack Speed in case you're going to be running some other slotsy skill, so those can be the alternative option, but overall the best slotty skill for her is going to be Crystalline Water for meeting the resistance check. And now you've got the option of running Speed Resistance Shackle, so this can provide you the valuable Shackled status, and this is a middle of the turn debuff as well, so it can help against the Freyr teams, and it can also help with a lot of the effects that scale off the amount of negative status effects that you've got on the enemy, so it can help you with that. And you don't want to run any kind of skill that can just have its debuff be cleansed, so Shackle is a really solid slot B skill You can also run Call to Serve if you want to give the dull ult status and a bit of true damage to your allies, but I like Shackle a lot more because the speed Shackle status can help you swing some of the matchups, so it's good to have. And the Resistance Shackle can also help if you provide the Hexblade status with someone like Plumeria. That is also a really common core unit that you can have on your Astra teams. And you can provide even more support with Silence Ward as a useful tech option so that you can give the Null Counter Disrupt support to your save tanks that you might be running, as they are easier to use in the Astra season. But if you're just going to be using an Omni tank, then the 2-space restriction of Silence Ward can be a bit annoying. You can also get Shadow Smite, as it can be helpful for more of the offensive teams, as she can just let you go into the enemy line. So both of these skills are good options depending on what kind of team you use a lot more. You can also pick up Guidance if you're going to be running Crux Echo outside of this Hall of Forms, so that you can provide some of the warping to your save tanks. Groom Roy came at a time when he was getting competition from other Axe Cavaliers that came out, like Summer Dimitri and Legendary Xander, and even now, he gets overshadowed quite easily because his preferred weapon and preferred skill are not really all that unique. So Blazing Polearms does give him the effective damage against dragons and beast units, but offensively this weapon does not give you as many stats or true damage or anything like that. It does have Canto 2 built in it, but that's basically it, along with the minus and special cooldown. Honestly, there's not a lot of reason for you to run this weapon compared to Arena Axe or any kind of modern Arcane Axe that we might get in the future. And his weapon refine is gonna be about 2 years from now, I believe, so there's a lot of time until then. His preferred slotsy skill, Faith in Humanity, is not really all that much of a preferred skill. It looks a lot more like an inheritable skill. So it does give him +6 attack and speed, and also he can get the tempo effect. So that is a bit unique for a Cavalier, but we just have other better slotsy skills that you can run, and that can open you up to run some of the echo skills, which you cannot do if you're running this preferred slotsy skill. So you can try and get Arena Axe Plus, which is really good for its shackled status that it can give out to you, and it also gives you better true damage and flat damage reduction, which he certainly needs. Getting Arc Rival as the special is going to be the best option for its unconditional flat damage reduction, and it can also help you against the blue enemies. So it is not really all that hard for him to trigger with Assault Impetus and with Attack Speed Bellow, or even his preferred slotsy skill, which can give him the tempo effect. And you can also run Blue Skies, because that can give you the Canto 2, which he's going to be missing if you're going to be running Arena Axe Plus or even the future Arcane Axe, because it's not going to be having Canto for sure. So this can be a way of getting it without running the Sigurd Ring, and it also gives you the true damage, which you also need for the damage output. Assault Impetus is extremely good for its special jumping, which can help you trigger Arc Rival, and it also gives you the damage reduction piercing and even more true damage. But you can also run Potent Assault, but keep in mind that we do have the Potent Sacred Seal now, and Potent status is something you can take advantage of with a couple of allies. So I like Assault Impetus a bit more. Attack Speed Favor is also something you can run if you want to double down with the support that Arena Axe provides you with. So it's also a really solid option. Attack Speed Bellow can give you the extra offenses, the true damage, and also special cooldown +1 status per attack. So that can also help you trigger Arc Rival a lot easily with the Erika Ring. And it's kind of a bummer that you cannot have the tempo effect and the Bellow skill at the same time. That would have been really solid, but still this is going to be a better skill for the true damage that it gives you. And if you want to have the dull all effect, then Attack Speed Outcry Dull is going to be a good option. But I think a lot of the skills and a lot of the other units can just give out the dull all status as well. And Shadow Smite is also an option if you're going to be going the supportive route with the Favor skill with Arena Axe. And then finally, Fatal Smoke is always useful to get past the non-special miracles that we have nowadays. And if you're running an AoE build with Assault Impetus, then it's also a good option. Ice Trap Thea can be a decent pickup if you did not get Bright Catria from the earlier Hall of Forms, and she is basically a modern Brattle Katria with her weapon, where she can give out the triangle attack status, but instead of the order status, she can give you the Kanto status, and she does have the 50% damage reduction piercing and more stats with this weapon, so it is going to be dependent on the number of dragon flowers that you've used, and it can go up to max 15. She also gets 7 flat damage reduction from foes' first attacks, and also cooldown +1 per attack. So if you're going to be running her with Gale Force, then she's going to be having an easier time triggering it. But nowadays, Brattle Katria, Ice Stripe Thea, they do not have as much of an easier time functioning, because Schism status is something that you need to watch out for because it disables triangle attack status, and Schism status is easily something that you can have access to now with the Havoc skills. So unfortunately, triangle attack is not as useful as it used to be before, and she's not a harmonic unit like Brat Katria, so that is also a thing that she's lacking. But overall, she is going to be having the modern weapon and better offenses than her, so you can try and get Arc Rival as her special because it gives you the unconditional flat damage reduction, and now it can also help you against many of the matchups like Harmonic Ike, for example. You can also get Gale Force Mist if you're mainly going to be using her in a Gale Force team, but Arc Rival is simply such a good special that it's kind of hard to skip in Hall of Forms. Trample is going to be a superb option because it gives you the Desperation effect and true damage, and it's not really all that hard to have a Divine Vein active to get the full effect out of it. So because she can get the Brave attack out of her triangle attack, getting the Desperation out of this is extremely helpful. But if you just want to have better Kanto, then Blue Skies could be an option, and if you don't really care about Desperation, or if you don't want to have better Kanto, then Attack Speed XL I guess could also be an option if you just want to have more flat damage reduction, but Trample overall I think is the better skill of all of these three. And for slot B, Air Superiority is an amazing pickup because of the fact that it has got pass built in it. So it can provide you with a warping which doesn't get stopped by any kind of warp blocking, and it also gives you the true damage and potent. So it is really good offensively as well. And because of the fact that she requires you to have the allies in 2 spaces with triangle attack, having the warping and the pass with Air Superiority is really good. But if you just want to have more supportive effects, then Attack Speed Favor is an option. Assault Impetus is also something you can run, and Speed Defense Detect, as you saw when Brat Katria was in the Hall of Forms, is also a good option on a unit like this. For slot C, Speed Defense Hold Guide can give you the Omni Guidance that can help the allies take advantage of with the triangle attack, but unlike Winter Thea here, they're not going to be having air superiority in a lot of the cases, so warp blocking is going to be a bit annoying. Deadly Miasma is also something that you can run so that you can go in with air superiority and its pass, and then set up the Miasma terrain and override something like the Korin Ring terrain of the enemy. But if you plan on giving her Soaring Echo as an attune skill along with Deadly Miasma, then it does come with Attuned Ivy, and then Speed Defense Crux is also an option if you want to have the guaranteed follow-up attack. But overall, I do like the Omni Guidance a bit more, as you can of course run Crux Echo, and if you just want to have better Kanto but not use Blue Skies in the slot A, then Brutal Tempest is also a good option and also gives you the +1 movement, so you don't really need Sigurd Ring if you run this. The final unit is going to be Noah from this batch, and unfortunately he really does not stand out because he needs you to have a support partner in 2 spaces of him so that he can give himself and the allies in 2 spaces the dot status and the Dalalt status, which is good, but these status are nowhere near as coveted for having to justify a support partner and ally support constantly. So this is simply going to be getting replaced by a better inhittable weapon in Jihana Lance that we have got nowadays, which does have the reflex built in it, and even offensively, like, this weapon just has the true damage, which isn't that good along with Omni +5, so it's a bit of a outdated weapon, and Noah can get more out of Jihana Lance because of its reflex effect, and he can also provide the dot status actually with this weapon, but to everyone that are in 2 spaces of him, and he also provides the null debuffs as the status. Arc Rival again is going to be the special for any kind of unit that you can try and get this in holoforms. So it is going to be helping you hit harder with the reflex of Jehana Lance, and because you're going to be missing out on Kanto if you do not run Cigarette Ring, you can simply have Blue Skies as his best slot A, which can give him the consistent Kanto and also true damage and flat damage reduction. Because we're taking a bit more of the supportive route, attack speed favor can help you just bring down the cooldown of him and also his ally, and it also lets you give out another status effect and empathy to his allies, and you also give out the true damage support. If you want to go the offensive route, then Potent Assault or Assault Impetus is going to be helpful, but just keep in mind that triggering Arc Rival on the follow-up attack with the reflex of Jehana Lance is going to be a lot better instead of triggering it on the first attack. And then for the slot C, Outcry Dull is going to be pairing up well with Jehana Lance's null debuffs, but if you're going to be running his preferred weapon, then it may overlap with it because it also gives you the Dull All status, so consider if you're going to be running Jehana Lance or not on him. And if you're going to be running his preferred weapon, then Attack Speed Bellow is a better option that you can pick up. And Fatal Smoke is going to be a good option if you are going to be running him offensively, and then Shadow Smite is also a way of just sending in your allies after using the favor skill. So that's also a good option if you don't want to overlap with Outcry, Dull, and his preferred weapon, and it's also a solid support option. Next month, we're going to be having the Blazing Sword holoforms, and there are a couple of units that may be added depending on if they do the last minute schedule change or not. They haven't really added a tuned unit ever in a holoform, so I don't think a tuned Hector is going to be that likely, but on the off chance they do, I mean, he can be an option because he is there in the Divine Codes. But more than likely, they're going to be having something like this. Ninja Lin, I think, is a really fantastic option that they can put in the colorless slot, which a lot of people have built up. She also has her weapon refined now, and then Spring Carla can be a harmonic option. They have put Ursula before, so Fallen Ursula can be a unit that they can put out who is a bit more of a modern unit, and Fallen Lloyd is a Grail merge project of a lot of people, and having him in the holoforms like Dagdar, I think, would be also something that they could do. They can also put Duo Hector as an older red unit, and Duo Mark is also going to be a valid duo option. Bramimond, I believe, does get rerun in January, but I'm not sure if he's going to be there in the holoforms because he's a bit older. Nurgle could be much better option because of his Essence Strain, and then Rebecca is a 4-star focus that they like to put in these holoforms, and she's also there in the Divine Code, so I think she does have a bit more of a chance. So you can come back to this video next month to see if I was right or wrong, and I want to thank all of my team members for their support. You can click the link on the screen right now to check out my breakdown of the winter banner, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as favor skill on healers like Elimine. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.